Hi Alex, how you doing? Always the first to arrive. Never mind. Sounds gonna be rough. Hi Dalsu. You're not first, unfortunately. You're not first. You are second. Alex is always here. I think he sits here in waiting, ready for the stream to start. I'm fine chilling, just watching the stream. Oh, good to hear. Well, hopefully it's going to be a chill stream today. So. I will tell you to turn your head away when I start lubing the stabs, so I can keep that chill factor going. Which reminds me as well, I need to get this out. There is pink can. How you doing there, Darcy? You doing well today? And I need to get a random business card. Choose that. We're starting the stream properly in a minute's time or so. Just let a few people turn up first. Great, love the board and the feeling and sound. Oh, it's great to hear. Glad that you like the board that I made. I'm very well, thanks. I'm very well. I've had a busy day today of tidying the house out. I have to get it ready to move. So I'm just going to take the desoldering clamp apart quickly just to give it a quick clean out. I think it's going to get absolutely battered in a minute. Sorry about the horrible noise there, guys. So what are you guys up to on a Saturday? Other than watching me stream, obviously. So I'm just going to put this back together and then I'll get going. I hate putting this damn thing back together though. It never goes back together as I want it to. Hey, how you doing, Jordan? You doing well? So I haven't heard anything back from you about those switches you wanted doing, by the way. Very well, thanks. I'm very well. Busy day, but got most of the stuff that I wanted to do today done. So, which is always a benefit. Always a benefit. So, I'll grab the board from behind me. So, this is Dan's Masterkeys Pro S. It is from CEX. And it currently has brown switches inside of it, cherry browns, the cherry RGB browns. Check that it's all working, everything seems to be working fine. I'm going to be taking the board completely apart, and obviously the bits that I want from it are the PCB and the plate. don't really care about any of the other parts. So, oh, and obviously the stabs. The stabs are fine. They used proper cherry ones. So, gonna take this apart. It is a bit grimy, so I will step outside just to brush this off, because it's a used Masterkeys from CEX. So we got it pretty cheap. So obviously the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start popping the caps off, and I'll put them in a little box, or I'll put them on. I've got a little container. There we go. I'll put them in a little container for now, and then Dan can do what he pleases with them, albeit they are they're in not bad condition. They're just a bit grimy, and I'm not going to be cleaning them. So I'll send them down this week. Sweet. Yeah, so send them on down. I'll happily lube them. I'm probably not going to be taking any boards to do, or switches or anything like that after this week, seeing as I'm going to be moving fairly shortly, and so obviously when I move, things are going to get put in boxes, as you can. I don't know if you guys can see that back there. Let me just see if I can. This is going to make me look super white, but brightness. So you can see all of the boxes back there in the background. That's all my stuff. So, oh, I've managed to break the webcam. See if it still continues to break. No. Give me a minute, let me know when you're ready. Yeah, yeah, send me a message on Discord, and I'll get back to you on that. Obviously, I'm going to be here all week, so I'm going to have some evenings to be able to do stuff. I probably won't stream the actual build of it though. Let me know if the music's a bit loud, by the way, guys. It's quite loud for me, this exact song. So happy to skip it. Just on the subject of follows and stuff like that, I'd like to thank Aryxng, ARYXNG12 for the follow. He followed the stream 3 hours ago. I'm assuming that's Aaron. It sort of goes with his sort of naming scheme, I guess. Hopefully moving goes well. Yes, I hope it does as well. I don't have loads of stuff to move. Well, it's going to be a couple of car trips to actually move all my stuff out. And then my other half, she's taking her bed and stuff like that. I'm not taking my bed. We've actually, between us, we've bought a new bed, and so it'll be getting that delivered fairly shortly after we exchange contracts and stuff like that. So. So is everybody having a good Saturday though? I hope that everybody's having a chilled one, where they've gotten everything that they needed to do earlier in the day done. I certainly have. Well, at least some of the stuff that I wanted to do today. I've got a board to build. Obviously, if you have any questions throughout, let me know. I'm more than happy to help out with any keyboard building related questions. And also the chat is there. We've got some very knowledgeable people in the chat who, if I can't figure it out, I'm sure one of the guys here will be able to. Look at that. I'll show you guys that. This is what I'm having to deal with here, boys. Look at that. crusty. If Dan is here in the chat, or if somebody would like to message him, in fact, I will do one better. I should message him actually. I should message him. I did say that I was going to message him when I went live. Yes, CEX quality right there. It is, yeah, pretty gross. Albeit, I don't think he's actually going to care, to be honest. I think, to be fair, he's got a very nice GMK keycap set that's going to go on this. More than likely, the keycaps will end up in the bin or in getting cleaned and thrown in a bag for a little while. You guys can't see the layer of filth that is on the plate, which I'm going to have to clean off. Again, it's pretty. It's seen better days. I think it's also seen somebody's breakfast at some point. So the board that we're building today pretty much is something along the lines of the one that I've got in front of you. So this is my Nova Touch here. So that has got a Cooler Master Nova Touch inside of it with a Norbauer case. So it's sorry, it's not a Nova Touch, it's a Norbauer Touch. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to do the what is the Master Touch, which is Masterkeys Pro S inside of a Norbauer case. Master Touch? No, it's not Master Touch. A Norbauer? No. Alright guys, you're going to have to think up of a name for a Masterkeys and a Norbauer mix. I can't. My brain is not working. A Norbauer Touch. No, it's not. You can't put touch in there. I keep saying touch. Masterbauer? No. Doesn't sound very good. A Norbauer? A Norbauer sounds quite good. So I'll show you the level of grime that is on this. Ooh, this plate there was there. Space more. Jumping. So I'm not gonna tilt it too much so it doesn't pour out, but look at that. Ugh. Look at that giant fluff bunny there. Ugh. Lovely, eh? Alright, so I'm just going to go nip outside very quickly and just brush this off so I'm not having to deal with random bits of fluff and hair and dirt. So I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, some of the harder crumbs and stuff like that aren't coming off, but that's the majority of the loose shit that was on there. So, I will give the plate a quick clean, because it does look like it needs it after we finish desoldering. So, when the switches are out, I'll go get a cloth and a bit of isopropyl alcohol or something like that, and I'll just give it a quick clean off. So, what we're going to do now is we're just going to pop this open. So need my little card to shimmy it on out. I'm going to keep all of the screws and stuff like that here, because I think Dan is gonna, you might well want it afterwards. It is, it certainly is. Trying to get this little, there's always a little screw underneath the sticker in the middle. I think that's it for those. So what you then have to do is got a dip, got uni work to finish. I mean, you can always do the uni work whilst watching the channel. I'm not that distracting. Well, at least I don't think I am. So the next thing that we have to do is just pop this open. I always hate this process. There's little latches on the inside here, and they involve you putting the card in, just running it along the latches. I'm just going to put a little bit of shelf liner down here so it doesn't slip so much. So Dan unfortunately hasn't sent me the his actual Norbauer because as I can attest to, those Norbauer cases, they weigh an absolute ton. They are solid pieces of aluminium, and I've got one in front of me, and I wouldn't ever think about sending it unless I was selling it. And so I can completely understand why he didn't want to send his one down, seeing as he received his on the same day as I received mine. So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking this one in front of me apart, my Norbauer Touch apart, and I'll use that to put the parts into. Half of it out, so it's slowly but surely coming out. The latches on these things are just horrid. They never seem to want to let go, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. There's a latch on the front side that's just not wanting to detach. Just here. There we go. Okay, let's put that behind me. I'll put the sofa behind me. So then there's a couple more screws. So I don't know if you guys can see. There's a screw here, a screw here, that both need to be removed to be able to take the plate out of the case. So luckily On the later generations of these, they decided to use all the same screws, otherwise it's a real pain in the ass. So let's just pry this on apart. So this comes apart quite nicely. There's a little bit of junk inside of the tray, almost like somebody taking it apart before me. You can see all of the horrid junk that's in here. Tobacco and shit like that. It's horrid. So what we're just going to do quickly is we're just going to detach the cable. Even the back side of the board is all dusty. Ugh. Is that... Whoever had this before has treated this thing like shit. It's got stuff between the... I don't know, even almost looks like a dead spider is caught in there or something. Ugh. Right, I'm just going to have to go give this another clean. Okie dokie, so the board itself looks all fine from the inside. I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move a few bits and pieces around here so I've got a bit better desk space. But what the idea is going to be here is that I've got this solder sucker and I'm going to take out all of the solder from all of these, bar the post that is there. There's a single post that holds the plate to the PCB. That's the only thing that I'm not going to remove. So I'm going to go around it slowly, and I'm going to remove all of the solder as I go. The idea to get rid of the solder, the best method that I've found with these boards, is to pour a little bit of solder into where it needs to go. So we've got some more solder here. Pour a little bit of solder into where you want to desolder. And then use the solder sucker to pull it up, and that seems to work quite nicely. So I'm just going to get the soldering iron going. So we're just going to raise the temperature as well. I find 350 is about the right temperature for desoldering. Gets the old solder warm enough that we can get it flowing quite nicely, and so that we can get it out. So that's at 350 degrees. So have I got everything? Oh no, the one thing that I've forgotten. So I don't like to use the one that was provided by Hacko because it's not very good. So let's just get rid of a couple of these then. This new solder sucker that I've just bought is brilliant. I'm absolutely loving it. It's way better than my previous one. didn't settle very well on that one. So the one downside to this desolder sucker compared to the old one is that you do have to clear the barrel out every time. It's got a relatively small barrel compared to the old one, which you could do 4 or 5 switches before having to need to swap it out to clear it out. So I, for the waste solder, I always use a old can of drink of some sort. I've decided against having cans of drink on the stream because the other day whilst I was desoldering, I put one into my drink that I was drinking. That's a big lump of solder. Good thing I didn't swallow it. No, it definitely wouldn't be a good thing. Bad for your health, I think. Nice big chunk of leaded solder. Pretty tasty. Oh, we've got a follow of from King Salu. Hi King Salu, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Getting along here a lot faster than it took me to do my original Masterkeys that I did. Obviously why the EU banned solder from hobbyists, to make sure solder waste wasn't accidentally drunk. I'd hope that people weren't just drinking soldered beverages, getting high doing that or something. poisoning one another. That's the other option for it there. Just don't drink anything at the meetup when you come to the meetup. I'm going to have poisoned everything with solder. Free Kester solder with every drink. So I've left one alone at the moment, this one here. I hate doing that one, so I'm going to leave that one right to the very end, seeing as it's the one that's by the most components. So solder very well. Yeah, my only qualm with lead-free solder is the fact that it flows like shit. It's horrid. It doesn't flow very well. If they could make it flow better, I would be more for lead-free solder. But it just doesn't. I'm having to go to like 380 degrees, stuff like that, to be able to get this stuff. To get the stuff moving, and then to get it through the solder pump, it's just not wanting to get sucked up at all. Whereas this, the stuff that I use Loctite brand stuff, and I can set it to 280 degrees and it'll flow. It's really, really good. Oh, hey, my advice guy. Good evening to you as well. How are you doing on this fine Saturday? Fine, having a meet over in a bit. Oh, mate over in a bit, I guess. Hope you're doing well as well. Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm doing very well. Busy, very busy at the moment. This is one of about 4 other builds that I've got on at the moment. And I've got a few switch looping sessions to do as well. So, busy with the keyboard stuff. Outemu Silent Skies, yes they are. They're in the pot that you can see there. He's gone for the solid tops, not the clear tops. And I think they're going to go really, really nicely with the retro refrigerator Norbauer case that he's bought. Awesome. What is the Outemu Silent Sky lubed with? Oh, they're lubed with Corotox 205 grade 0. To be honest with you, they don't need an awful lot of lubing to get them smooth. Literally just the rails, the top housing, the bottom housing rails, and the wall, and that's about it really. You don't need to do the slider. Obviously, if you want it less tactile, you can loop the slider or even the contacts to reduce the tactility if you really need to. But I think most people who are buying the Silent Skies are not doing it for that reason. Don't know if it's just me that's having issue, but the music's quite loud compared to your voice. Oh, sorry, yeah, sure. Let me just turn it down a bit then. I was thinking it was sounding quite loud. I'll turn it down. So that's on YouTube. It's down from 20 to 10. So. Loads better, sweet. Oh, and no worries, no worries. Yeah, the biggest problem with the Outemu Silent Skies is the springs that they've used. I think the springs that they've decided to use have come from the bargain bucket. Poundland bargain bucket. They're very, very noisy from stock. That's that one. Very noisy stock. And so what we've done is we've decided to swap them out. We initially were going to swap them out for 78 gram spritz, but it felt a little bit too heavy throughout the keystroke. So we've gone for 62.5s, which are very similar to the stock springs that are in there. Just quite a lot less pingy and crunchy and everything like that. This board will look epic though when it's done, and Dan has it. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to move the camera back a little bit. I think the reason that it kept stop working was the autofocus system was almost sort of like trying to find something to focus on. And because the camera was so far forward, I sometimes wasn't in shot. And so it was failing to continue going. So what I've decided to do is move the camera back a bit, be able to get a little bit more of my motion in there. And see if that works, and if that still doesn't work, I don't know. Andy Holland says, hey Matt, what's up? Not much. How about yourself? Hope you're doing well this evening. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday evening. Alright. No, screw it. I'm going to do the one switch that I hate doing. That's good. So the one switch I'll show you, the reason that I don't like doing this switch, this one specific switch, is if I show you here. So have I got something I can do? I can point with. Here we go. So it is this switch here, this one here, and it's right amongst a bunch of components. I hate doing it simply because of the fact that there's so much vital componentry there that could be easily screwed up. Obviously, I don't want to screw it up. Don't want to catch the soldering on the side of a diode or something like that and rip it off or something like that, you know. So I don't intend to, but it could happen. Good, thanks. Watching the CS majors. Oh, very nice. I've unfortunately, I'm not a Counter-Strike player really. I much prefer what's it called? Rainbow Six Siege. Quite a lot more entertaining. Had my 4th victory royale. Is it a victory royale? No, it's, I became the Apex Legend on Apex Legends, obviously, but the other day. I'm not very good at the game, but it was me and Guti that pushed our way to the final view, and then I one-tapped the final guy. This board is for Dan. Yes, it is. This is Dan's board. So I'm currently desoldering Dan's Masterkeys Pro S. So this is the Cooler Master Masterkeys Pro S. Comes with cherry brown RGB switches, and it has SMD LEDs installed. And it's a good base. It is a really good base for a board if you like RGB. If one of the requirements for a board for such as yourself is RGB and you like TKLs, I think this is the best way to go. You end up putting it into an absolutely tank of a case. An absolute unit, I should say, of a case, in the Norbauer, and that combination of Norbauer and Masterkeys, just beautiful mix. So what are you saying? I don't play CS much, but it's nice to watch. Apex is really fun. I've been playing it a bit. Yeah, I mean, it is a really fun game. I mean, if you're up for a game later, let me know. I'm more than up for a couple of games of Apex Legends, as long as you're happy to watch my horrid Pathfinder plays. Flying shotguns and stuff like that, you know. Oh wait, what does Mayor say? Mayor says, oh wait, I think it's now that Denmark is playing Brazil. Sorry Matt, I have to watch CS. Cheers and cheer on Denmark. Starting in 10 minutes. What's the dual Twitch or whatever it is? I can't remember what the name of dual Twitch is. Oh hey Stocksy, how you doing? You've only missed a little bit. You've only missed what is it? Nearly 50 minutes of the stream. The first 10 minutes were just a bit of chatting really. But so this is Dan's Masterkeys Pro S. Albeit Dan isn't here. I don't know if he's not here because for a certain reason. I've just seen Dan's message. Dan is out and he is going to be watching on mobile. So what it is this is Dan's Masterkeys Pro S, and so this comes with beautiful hot trash switches. The hottest of trash. They are RGB brands. They're not even the black housinged brand, so you can't even reuse the housings for something else. They've got okay tactility, but they are quite inconsistent between them. So whoever had this beforehand used it quite a lot. So we've given it a clean off, we've taken it out of the original case, and we're now just going through the process of just desoldering the RGB brands out of the board to be able to put the Outemu Silent Skies in. Outemu Silent Sky, sorry. So we're about halfway through the desoldering of this board at the moment. Very happy with the desolder solder sucker that you recommended, by the way, Stocksy. If for anybody that hasn't seen one of these before, this is an Engineer SS02, I think it is, solder sucker. And the really good bit about it is it's got a small barrel. It's quite easy to hold, but it's this rubber tip that it's got on there. The rubber tip that it has really helps get a good good seal on the where I'm sucking the solder up from. Amir says, yeah, but I'm using Chromecast. My computer is not turning on at the moment. Not turning on at the moment. Oh no. What's happened to it, dude? I hope no blue smoke escaped from it. I do still have to add solder to it. I hope none of the magic smoke has escaped. The worst thing. Stock says my fave switches. Yep. These are slightly better than stock switches. So the stock versions of these, the spring pings an awful lot, and they're a little crunchy. So what I've done is I've lubed some 62.5 gram sprit springs, and I have also lubed the housing top and bottom to make it a little bit better. Sorry, 1 second guys, I've got somebody at the door. I could. Well, somebody was at the door and now they've just gone. So just catch up on what you guys are talking about. Do you know what he's doing with the case? I don't know what he's doing with the case. I know that he's gonna be putting this into his retro refrigerator Norbauer case. So I don't know what he's going to be doing with the old the plastic one. I'm feeling making a QMK PCB for it, maybe, I don't know. I need to get the sucker like that. So I have got a case. I've got a PCB that might work in it already, so I might well just send him the PCB. I've got a Phantom TKL PCB. Quite an old one. It's quite an old PCB now, but that uses a little teensy microcontroller. Little teensy controller, which has got the Atmeg 32, whatever it is, U4. On it, which allows complete QMK compatibility. And I believe that PCB works perfectly with it. That combination works. He'll just have to get a plate sorted for it, or he could obviously go plateless if he really wants to. It's completely up to Daniel. Daniel. Just saying it as it is. The solder sucker gives a good sucky. It it does do a very good job of getting the solder off the board. Certainly does a good job. Not turned on. It is turning on, but can't be bothered to get up. Ah, you're in that sort of lazy mood, are you? Stock says also the SSO2 is legit, but it's a little annoying if it doesn't spit the solder out. Yeah, that's why I've got a pair of tweezers here, is so these little tweezers can get down inside there and I can pull the solder out nice and easily. But the one good thing about the solder that they've used on this and the solder sucker combination is that I have to add a bit of solder to it, so I can pretty much over solder these switches and then use the sucker to pull it up, and so it doesn't often get stuck in there because there's so much solder being pushed out. Had a bit too much fun yesterday. Oh, I see. What sort of fun are we talking about? A bit too much drink? Or oh, it's not legal for you guys over there, is it? Oh yeah. So for the switches that I've got here, obviously I've got quite a big batch of them there. I've purposefully left off a few switches so that I can show you guys how I lube them. They don't need an awful lot of lube. I am using 205 grade 0. They don't need an awful lot of lube to be able to make them uber smooth. The key thing that needed changing on them was the springs. The springs definitely need swapping. They are far too loud, and they benefit from the switch sound benefits heavily from the change of springs. It's dominated by switch ping, spring ping sort of thing. Mayor drinking too much, lol. I mean, we did drink some soda, so I guess that's nice. And no, the only fun legal stuff that messes with one's brain is alcohol. I see, okay. So Andy says, what springs did you put in? So I swapped them for 62.5 gram silver springs. They're actually in the bag, this bag here. So as per usual, I've lubed them with Krytox 106. So I find that the 62.5 gram springs match quite nicely to the original springs that are in there, giving the same amount of tactility, the same amount of travel after actuation, everything like that. they feel pretty much identical. That's the main thing. And so I swapped them to that, and they feel great. They're just an Outemu ice. I keep saying ice. Outemu Silent Sky, but with a no spring ping. £68 is suck. Big suck. Also, gold plating is a waste of money. I quite like gold plating on the springs sometimes. But then again, I am taking photos of my builds sometimes. My personal builds, yes. And so, for that factor, I like to put gold springs in there. But if it's going to be hidden behind solid housings, then there really is no point. Stainless springs for these are all day long. No point in putting gold ones in. Sprit does actually reckon though that the gold plating does make a very small amount of difference. Not sure that you're going to be able to tell the difference, but he does think that it does make a difference. The only difference that I find is that you're happy knowing that the board is premium inside and out. In your true heart of hearts, Stocks, Andy, meh, could you truly feel that the board is complete if it doesn't have gold springs? You'll be forever knowing that there is an upgrade there. It is truly never endgame. Stocks, you have a heart. I know that you have a heart because I'm in there. Me and Dan are both there. And I know that Dan is in your heart. I know that much because I have a beautiful photo which has been aptly named Lads on Tour. The only thing that I do really hate about this is I get really quite sweaty hands normally, and so this thing is completely. It's got almost like a soft touch finish to it. It's very smooth, but because my hands are all get sweaty, it ends up sliding out of my hands so easily. So Andy, if you are gonna order some, I can. Well, I can always talk to Sprit about what he's got because I'm in contact with him quite often. But Pexon does have a decent selection of Sprit springs now. He's been working with Sprit for a little while now, and so he has a selection of in-stock springs on his website, gold and stainless steel. So drop him a message and he might be able to help you out. And they're not a bad price either. Deep down, you'll know, and then have to tell everyone that they're gold. It's like having a Ferrari and then putting Corsa seats in it or something like that. You know that deep down that it's a Ferrari and it's fast, but you know that it'll never be fully complete because it's got Fiat seats in it. Then I have gold 52 gram CWW springs. What's CWW? I think you should all know. Hockey tape mod it, goddammit. Oh, you asking me to hockey tape mod this? Hockey tape modding this wouldn't do anything because this has plate mount stabs. Cat wee wee. Oh, I see. I have seen cat wee wees springs once before. Are they actually any good? The reason that I always choose Sprit is because number one, I know him quite well, but his tolerances on his springs are brilliant. We've talked about it once before, but he works on a 1 to 2% tolerance on his springs from Gateron, like the Sprit springs from Gateron are 10%. So you're talking his 78 gram springs, they can be nearly 8 grams up or down. So anywhere from what is it, 70 grams to 86 grams of weight they can be off, which is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, when you're looking at the lower weights like 68 grams and 65 grams, the springs that they're using, they can be the 65 gram springs but be 68 grams on them and stuff. So yeah. Stock says hockey tape mod the SSO2 and you have, oh, that's actually a really good idea. Actually, that's a really good idea. I might do that after the stream. Hockey tape mod it. 200 IQ move. Yeah, no, that's not just a 200 IQ move, that's like a 300 IQ move. Plate mount stabs still touch the board. Oh, is he asking to check the Discord? Okay, one second. Can't talk in chat on mobile, but looking good so far. I'll be selling the quick fire that currently in the Norb for whoever asked. Okay, so Andy, I think Daniel was actually selling the quickfire that he's got. He's got a quickfire rapid eye, and so you could go through the process of desoldering the switches and putting whatever you like in there, and then obviously they'll match up quite nicely with the case that he's got. So drop down a message if you're interested in something like that. But plate mount stabs still touch the board. I'm not sure that they do they still touch the board? If they do, then I've been wrong all of this time. I never thought they actually made contact. I know that PCB mount does. PCB mount makes contact with the PCB when you actuate the switch, but I wasn't sure that plate mount ever made contact. So Dan is watching the stream. He's just not able to type in chat at the moment. So all say hi to Dan. He is watching, and he'll be able to see your comments on the stream. So. Also tell Dan that he's a filthy pleb who should be at home watching the stream anyway. Okay, another row done. I'm going to leave the cluster of these to do in a minute. Flip the board around to do them. Solder very well. So what is everybody up to this weekend then? Obviously you're watching my stream at the moment, or you've decided to leave and go watch the Counter-Strike ones instead. But what is everybody else doing? Tomorrow I've got to complete 3 client builds and repairs. I'm not going to be streaming them. I just want to get through them. This next coming week is going to be a busy week, and I've got to get pictures taken of boards that I'm selling and stuff like that. So we exchange contracts on Monday. So we then have 1 week of waiting before we will be in our new house. So in that week, I have to get BT sorted. We obviously have to get all of our insurances, everything like that ready and going for when we move in. I'm trying to get rid of some of that solder. There's a massive lump of solder on here for some reason. Not what I've done either. There we go, clear that off. Was out with my ma organising stuff to decorate her kitchen next week. Oh, very nice. What's she doing decorating? Was repainting, or is she putting new kitchen cabinets in or anything like that? Painting old cabinets? I don't know. And so Andy says, just chilling, probs. Do uni work tomorrow? The days of being a university student, eh? The days of being a university student. What year are you in now, Andy? You must be in your first year? Your first year or second year? W Key Chris. Hi Chris, how you doing? You having a good Saturday so far? And welcome to the stream. Tiling, wallpapering, etc. Fun stuff. I mean, tiling and wallpapering and stuff is all fun. I assume that by the way that you've said that, you're going to be the carpenter. You're going to be putting on those dungarees and, are they dungarees? Yeah, the dungarees and a work belt and Workman stocks. Andy says first year. Poor first year student. So how many times a week do you go out drinking then? It's always the question to ask a first year student, isn't it? How often do you go out drinking? WK Chris says, why don't you use a desoldering gun? Unfortunately, I don't have that amount of wedge, that amount of dollar, that amount of capital. I do have one of those cheap Chinese desoldering pumps, but at the same time, they don't do as good a job as this. This is actually a very, very good tool. Gets through these pretty quick. Highly recommend. If I had a lot of money, then I'd probably buy the Hako desoldering pump, whatever it is. I can't think of the name of it. The one that's got the little thing that looks like a little old, one of the old style car horns. You know, the ones that like the clown style ones, like sort of thing. You know, sort of thing. I can't do the sound very well. But one of the desoldering pumps I know has one of those on it that is used to suction. Yeah, I'm going to be fully kitted out, all the gear and no idea. To be fair, I think that's most middle-aged men. Middle-aged men, I say. Most men. All the gear, no idea. Stock says when the SSO2 was 20 quid, I was like, oof, that's quite a wedge. When it was 17 though, I bought like 3. Oof. Man's got bare money, mate. Yeah, I bought mine for £18, I think. It was 17 or 18 quid. Well worth the purchase. I mean, I've bought three other desoldering pumps in the past for like five quid each off of Amazon, and they all suffer from the same thing, which is they just end up getting clogged up and not being able to suck the solder up. You end up having to spend like 20 minutes taking the damn thing apart because it's sealed itself solid pretty much. So why am I like this? How are you using 3 desoldering pumps, by the way? Are you akimbo holding them or something? Just one desoldering pump in each hand. You know? Get through a board in like 10 minutes. Oh, all these nice keyboards though. Yeah, the Hako is like 200 plus. A lot of money. Yeah, I mean, I'll be fair, I'd much prefer to spend my money on lots of nice keyboards than nice soldering irons. I'm not on the soldering iron discords. Albeit this soldering iron that I've got here is quite a nice soldering iron. So, did you see the Rama M60 case? The white one, which is so nice. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen the Rama M60. I'm actually waiting for the Rama whatever it is, the TKL one. I can't remember what the name of it is. I have the funds set aside. My body is ready. As long as he does it in ISO. If he does not do it in ISO, then it's a no deal. No bueno. And I'll buy something else. I'll buy a duck or something like that. An actual physical duck, you know, the one that quacks. Just to spite Rama and spite duck at the same time. Now I'll buy a what is it? The Octagon, the TKL duck. I can't remember what it's called now, or a TX. I have the Duratool one, only £80. Well, but clogs up quite often. Yeah, that's my biggest problem with these desoldering irons, is that they do clog up pretty often. And I mean, this one needs clearing, like it pops the solder out every time. So you have to clear it out every time, but you get into a rhythm of it. Whereas if it clogs up properly like those tools do, it's a real pain in the ass. So let me just Google it for you, and I'll put it in chat. But it's Rama Works. I can't remember what he's called it now. He's called it something funny, as he always does. The Unit 80, that's what it's called. So I'll put it in chat so you guys can have a look. But yeah, there's no real pictures to it. It's just an update to say that it's coming. Second quarter of 2019 is coming. Stock says SSO2's akimbo is the strap. Yeah. So what you do is you strap. You get some more hockey tape, and you hockey tape them together so they're like that. Akimbo irons, akimbo desoldering pumps. I mean, that's what I've heard that the real masters of desoldering do. None of this one-handed bullshit. What there is a soldering iron Discord. Yeah. I honestly don't know that. You never know. You never know. I mean, there's a mechanical keyboard Discord, multiple mechanical keyboard Discords now. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a soldering iron one. If Hacko had made a soldering iron Discord or something like that. I mean, what is it? What's the one that blew up on me? The TS100. That has got compatibility to be coded, doesn't it? So I'm surprised that they don't even have a Discord for people wanting to hack about with it. And so you said, coming up with the TKO, is there any pictures? Yeah, so I've just posted that in the chat for you. ISO all the way, obviously all the way. What's the point of living in the UK if you're not going to use ISO? I mean, stocks can get away with it because these we're going to be making them in making Scotland and Ireland eventually. I'm going to be going up and doing my part. You know, Hadrian's Wall. We're digging we're digging a ditch at the moment, and we're eventually going to fill that ditch in with water. W Key Chris. I mean, if you're in America, that's fine. That's completely fine. You use ANSI all the way, but you try getting into the country and saying that you use ANSI. Border Patrol will be stopping you there and then. Not allowed across the border. I already have the charges set to blow. We're going to yeet England towards France. That would be the worst case scenario. I mean, all of these people that have been asking for Brexit, and we get blown towards France, and reattached to mainland Europe. Out does definitely not mean out any longer. We're part of Europe. What would happen? Well, they normally the people at the border force would get a rather large glove out and have to do a cavity search for you. That's what would happen if you said you used ANSI. That they would immediately know something's up, something is not right. Oh, you mean the enter key? Not an awful lot, to be honest. So obviously we've got our. If I show you, the only things that do move about. So ISO UK, you can see. I'll just lift the board up a little bit. We get these changed here. And obviously I think the dollar. I can't remember if the dollar moves over for you or not. I think it's always on 4. But speech marks and pound sign and hash symbol moves. The hash symbol's here instead, and we've also got backslash over here. Other than that, I don't think it changes an awful lot, does it? But it's the principle of it more than anything. It's the principle that you have decided to do that to your motherland. This is where Alex is going to come in with some facts about that we originally made ANSI and it was the Americans that decided to split off with ISO and something like that, I don't know. Hiding all those ANSI enters and wider backslash keys. They know that you're carrying them. They don't allow that sort of contraband over the border. Excuse me, sir, is that a 2U left shift? I don't think so. If you use ISO, the only thing that changes is all you do is go on about it and on. And then we've got to be able to tell you, you ANSI plebs that to show you the light, pretty much. We can't just leave you in your squalor. So, in my defence, ISO HHKB looked dumb as heck. I will admit the ISO HHKB does look dumb. They do a JIS layout, don't they? Or is there an actual ISO layout HHKB? Because I can't imagine that it works too well. Is HHKB worth the money? I've been considering purchasing one, but I'm not sure. Yes, they are definitely worth the money. Topra in general is always worth the money. I love my my Nova Touch that I've got in front of me. Solid construction. The domes feel great. I have swapped them out for some heavier ones, but the original domes are just as good. The one thing that I would suggest if you are going to buy a HHKB is that you try and find some the Nova Touch sliders, or swap them out for some of the KVD fans ones. They might not be as smooth, but you get full MX compatibility. because that's the only thing that really sucks about Topro, is that you don't have the MX crucifix. In my opinion, if you're paying full price for it, then it would say it's not worth. Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot of them that come up onto the market. I've seen an awful lot on eBay. I see them on eBay coming past all the time. I've also seen them on Amazon a couple of times for heavily discounted prices, popping up on Amazon, and I just think that they're a really nice form factor. The one thing that I would say is, for buying retail, if you go over to Japan, if you ever go over to Japan, have a look at them over there. They are significantly cheaper, and they do have Japanese only variants of it. They've obviously got the JIS layout version of the HHKB, but they do also have specific colorways that you can't get in anywhere else except for Japan. You know, you got to get that JDM HHKB. I believe that's what Pexon actually did. I believe that he went over to Japan with a bunch of friends, and he brought a black HHKB back over with him, and the thing is beautiful. He's obviously lubed and lubed the sliders and stuff like that, and yeah, lovely board. My biggest problem is that I've got a Nova Touch, and I love the TKL layout, as does Daniel, and I just could never downgrade from TKL at this point. It has to be TKL or bigger. Saying that, I have got a 40% that I like to tap about on every now and again. But no, TKL is the form factor for me, and so the Nova Touch is the easy path. Let's have a look at this ISO layout HHKB. Oof. Yeah, that's not very nice. I mean, at least go for like a 1.25U left shift, so that you can have the backslash key over there, and get rid of the tilde and the star and put a 2U backspace in there. So I don't understand why they've done that. Put a 2U backspace in there and a 1.25U left shift and a backslash key, and that would be a great layout. Just seems a bit. It does seem a bit of a waste actually there. Topro patent expired on Friday, so I wonder if we'll see some clones coming out. Oh wow, I never knew that it expired. It would be great if we can see some clones come out of it, because the price for entry into Topro is extremely high at the moment. I mean, it's a real shame that the Nova Touch is discontinued. I really hope that Cooler Master goes screw it and we'll make another Nova Touch, because they were that popular. I mean, they're what, an £80 board, and they're on the aftermarket. They're selling for 200 quid. That's nuts. It's pretty nuts, and so they should do something there. Sorry, WK Chris. I've just seen your message. What would you say is a good price in US dollars? I honestly am not sure. Not for US dollars. I normally see them going for somewhere like 100 and the used ones are about 130 quid, something like that, maybe somewhere around there. So, well, that's $150, something like that. I mean, you can get way cheaper ones than that. You can get ones that are beat up that need some work doing on them, but 130 quid is about what I've seen as decent, like not needing any work doing, just need a bit of a clean up really. How much do sliders change the feel of the keycap? So the cheaper sliders, for instance, the ones that you get from KBD fans, they're quite scratchy, but you have MX support. The Nova Touch sliders, it's just because they're smooth, they're good sliders. They don't affect the actual switch press at all. They just feel like the normal HHKB sliders. They feel fine. It's just because of the tolerances that they have for the sliders. Obviously, the KBD fans ones have been done on a cheaper scale, cheaper process, and a smaller scale. All right, Andy, talk to you in a bit. Look on buyjp.jp. There's usually loads. Yeah, I generally look for the ones off of eBay. There's usually a couple on eBay every now and again. I think there's definitely more in the US than there is the UK, because of your proximity to Japan. So we're very nearly there now, guys. So we're very nearly there on desoldering this whole board, and then the soldering part shouldn't take too long. If anybody's up for some Apex Legends after this, I will be up for some. Up for owning some noobs, or being the noob and getting owned. I ordered myself some food tonight. I'm not sure what I'm going to order yet. Might well be a nice kebab of some sort. We've got quite a nice kebab shop around the corner from us, and it'll probably be one of the last times I have one of their kebabs, seeing as maybe in a week's time I'll be in the new place and trying the tastes of Alton. Oh, Stocksy, I don't know if I didn't think I messaged you. I don't know if Dan messaged you. I got the switches through. Didn't need them in the end though, seeing as Dan actually had enough here to be able to cover the TKL. So we're okay in the end. I think I've just split a little bit of plastic on it. That's a bit of a ball ache. Yeah, I've just split the little bit of plastic, the little rubber tip. So let's see if we can continue going on with this. I don't know if it's going to work quite as well, but if it doesn't, then we'll swap it out. But I've got the rubber tip over there. It still seems to be working okay, but just the rubber tip just completely split in half just then. So in the little package that they sent, they did send some extra. So I can buy some extra for a couple of quid or off of Amazonian. Alex says, kebab sounds good. Wish the place down my street wasn't so expensive. But, okay, so the kebab place down your road, is it good though? That's the ultimate question. Is it a good kebab? Because if it's a crap kebab and you're having to pay an arm and a leg for it, then no thank you. The kebab shop around the corner from me it's not too bad. It's not too expensive. We've got a very good kebab shop not far from where I play poker sometimes, what is it called? Meet the Greek, I think it's called. Meet the Greek. It's something like that. Meet the Greek. Meet the Greek? No, Meet the Greek. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the kebab shop around the corner from me does a decent quality salad to kebab mix. So he's also a nice guy as well. He always you know those jalapeno cream cheese popper things. He always throws a couple of them in because he knows that I quite like them, but don't want to buy like 6. So he'll pop a couple in the bag for me because he's a nice guy. It's alright, I guess, but kebab and chips is 10 quid. Oh, okay, yeah, I mean a large kebab and a drink for me here is about 8 quid. So I mean, but that's not from the elephant leg. That's from the that's like lamb shish or chicken shish. Says, you know how much rum you could buy with that. We so funny you talk about rum. We went through my all my drink. I've got 8 whiskies now. I didn't even know that I had 8 whiskies, and then I've got multiple. You know the little bottles, the miniatures. I've got about 10 miniatures now, and so the rum I've got like 6 rums as well. Captain Morgan's Kraken. I've got a Peaky Blinders rum. I've got 2 Captain Morgan's rums, the spiced and the unspiced. And so they're all coming over to the new house with me. I was slightly worried that I was going to have to start drinking them really quickly. I don't often drink. I'm probably going to have one of the first times in a long time I'm going to have a Guinness with my meal. Okay, so that's the board desoldered. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to flip it back over, flip her on over, and we are going to get a bag or a box or a cup or something. What do I need? One of these. One of to tip out the contents of these. This has only got a few switches left in it now because I've gone placing them onto my own board. So let's put that there for now. And we'll flick this off for a minute. Captain Morgan's Dark is probably probably the best out of the lot. I haven't tried the Peaky Blinders run yet, so I'm interested in trying that. Alex says, how was the lobster on Monday, by the way? No lobster, unfortunately, this time. No birthday lobster this time. I normally try to... So, for those who just joined and have no idea what I'm talking about when I say birthday lobster, for every year for quite a few years now, I've tried to have lobster on my birthday. My other half normally takes me out and we go for a nice meal. We normally go to, there's a place in London called Burger and Lobster, and it's like 10 or 12 quid, and you have the choice of either having a very it's 10 or 12 quid for the cheap one. I think it might be more like 18 quid maybe. It might be 18 quid, and so 18 quid either gets you a grilled or boiled lobster, or you have the choice of a burger, a very overpriced burger for 18 quid in my opinion, but some people take it, and so you go there and have a really nice lobster, and we've done that a couple of times now at Burger and Lobster, and I'm actually going to probably choose that as one of the places for the meal. If not, I'm going to be going up there at lunchtime, so I might have a lobster lunch instead when I go up there before the meeting. So if anybody is there on the Friday afternoon, I will be going for Burger and Lobster most likely, if not one of the other days. So you're more than welcome to buy me my dinner. Sounds super posh, but realistically lobster's quite cheap if you can find it in places. You can pay an awful lot of money. I mean, you pay £100 for a lobster if you want to, but no, we so for my birthday we ended up going to a place called Ravi's in Guildford, and it's like what do they call it? A Oriental fusion. But realistically, it's a pretty much an Indian restaurant that has it's a gourmet Indian restaurant pretty much. The menu's quite small, so no like chicken pasanda and all of that sort of stuff. So it's not good if you want to, if you've been out on a night out or something like that and you just want something quick to eat. But really delicious meal, and it's the best restaurant in Surrey. So that was my birthday treat. I've got a picture of me wearing a lovely hat at the end of the evening as well. Let me see if I can get my other half to send me a picture. I've got to head onto Facebook quickly. I'll get her to send it to me. I'll get her to email it to me. Sent that to her, so you never know. Might be the first subscriber only emote for when I get my sub button. I may well actually desolder this post. I'm not sure yet, because the PCB does look pretty gross as well. Like stuff has gotten in between into the PCB as well. So this is coming off quite easily though. I'm going to get a cloth and I'm going to give this a good clean with some isopropyl alcohol and a good wipe. Oh, what on earth is that? That is gross. Daniel, I'm really sorry, but we've got a gross one here. Look at that. So this is the first time that I've seen something like this before. So look at that switch there. Can you see that? It's white. So somebody has spilt something into this. I'm gonna have to desolder this apart. It's It's got a white section of something in there. So I'm just gonna desolder this apart so that I can get to this properly, because it's so if you guys can't see, it's attached. Let's just bring this in a bit. Just here, the plate is attached with solder to the PCB. I'm not doing a Nathan Kim on this, God no. I am not doing a taste test. Okay, so this is not wanting to. It's up to temperature. This is not desoldering whatsoever. Now let's see if I can add a bit of solder to the top of it. It's not wanting to. Yeah, it's definitely doing that, Alex. We're going to go further. We're going to go beyond. We're going to go 380 degrees. We're at 380 degrees, boys. That one's open, guys. I'm getting everybody at the door again. Okay, let's go back at it. Alright, we're going to have to go beyond 380 degrees. So let's go do 400. So the soldering iron is now at 400 degrees centigrade. No, that didn't move whatsoever. Okay, we'll do it like that. So that's the PCB separated from there. So what I've just done quickly is I've just heated it up and then pulled it apart because it was not going to come apart otherwise. So two of the switches. So if I show you guys, two of the switches, F1 and F1 and what tilde, have got a white substance on them. The rest of the PCB is in relatively good condition, but the plate is in a bit of a gross spot. So I'm gonna get the some isopropyl alcohol, and I'm gonna give the plate a good clean, and I'll also give the PCB a nice clean whilst I'm there too. So I'll be back in 1 second, guys. So this isn't isopropylene as people know it as normal. I am using, what's it called? Oh, it's got no label on it whatsoever. It's a purple variant of it. It's had a chemical added to it so that if you decide to drink it, you throw it out instead of just dying. But yeah, I don't really intend on drinking it. Methylated spirits, yes. I can't remember what they call this. It's Ben something or other. Benzamine, no, I can't remember. It's a special one that I bought. Alex, you'll know because you are the scientist here. I've gotten the junk off of it now. So stocks, I take it that you're bringing moonshine along to the next MK UK meetup, then are you? This is cleaning up quite nicely. There's a little bit of junk on some of the switches, so I don't know if the previous owner has sort of spilt a drink over it or something like that and repaired it by sort of pouring methylated spirits onto it or something. The back side of the board looks pretty clean, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to leave that alone. But the plate. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop these. We're going to quickly pop the stabs out. So let's move the PCB over there for a second. So we're going to pop the stabs out because we are going to clip and lube them whilst they're out. No, we're not clipping them, sorry. We are going to lube them though. They could definitely deal with a bit of taking apart and a bit of TLC anyway, so. Because they have seen better days as well. They could definitely see an ultrasonic cleaner this time. If Dan wanted. Actually, I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, so no. So I think I've just been messaged, but let's have a look. Facebook. Oh, I look so proud. Let's just save the image. I'll put it in the mortgage documents folder. Alright, I've got to put it on Imager, haven't I? I'm feeling also that this is going to be good. This PCB after I've sorry, this plate after I've screwed about with it a bit more. There you go, boys. Hi, Commissioner Dixie. How are you doing? There you go, boys. Enjoy the beautiful photo of me wearing a hat on my birthday. Dixie, that will be a emote on this channel once I do get the sub button, so don't you worry about that. How you doing though, Commissioner Dixie? Are you having a good Saturday so far? And welcome to the stream. Stock, no, you're not the only one drinking. I am drinking apple juice. Nothing else, just apple juice. Ugh. There's some hard shit on there. Oh no. That's going all the way to Discord. Oh god. Okay, so I'm gonna get the general channel up ready. What were you guys saying? Are you sniffing solvents? You can tell. In my spare time, no. I enjoy sniffing keyboards. Currently just cleaning Dan's board with some methylated spirits. Isopropyl alcohol, pretty much. I'm only giving it a quick clean because it definitely needs it, but Dan can finish the clean off later, getting the main crux of the junk off of it. It's a bit more respectable. It's not in the best of conditions, so. it's looking much better than it was. Much less gross. Much less gross. Cool. The downside of buying from CEX, eh? What downside could you have ever thought? The webcam is ever so slightly jerky. I'm not sure what would be making it a bit jerky, but I'll have a look into it after the stream, I think. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to solder this back to that, this to that, you know, this and that and that and this. So back up to 400 degrees centigrade. Windows very occasionally just jumps to the left for no apparent reason. Not bad or anything. Oh, okay, yeah, so it does that every now and again because the gain is moved about on it. I need to I'll fix it off stream. That'll be the best thing to do. Yeah, nearly there. 400 degrees centigrade. Cool. So what we're just going to do is heat this little blob up. Be able to tell how far away it needs to be properly then. How you doing there, Commissioner Dixie? You doing well tonight? If you aren't following, by the way, do hit that follow button. And that's for everybody who's watching the stream. If you're not currently following and you want to be notified when I go live, I normally go live at 6 PM on a Saturday, but sometimes I do other days. And if you want to get notified of that sort of thing, do hit the follow button and you'll get told when I go live. So I'm just going to add some switches across this now so that we've got a solid sort of base to work from here, so that the there we go. So do it like that. Even at 400 degrees centigrade, this pin does definitely not want to move. go further. It's not moving at all now. We go 420 degrees centigrade, guys. Pushing the iron further than it's ever been. Maybe I need to pour a bit more of the solder that I'm using into it to sort of mix a bit, I guess. So we've lost the chunk. Whoops. There's a chunk of it there. Trying to reduce the size of it ever so slightly because I've added a little bit of solder to it. I'm going to add a little bit more. It's just not flowing quite right. There we go. Much better. So I managed to get the flow rate right up on that there. And now that's flowed just nicely into where we need it to go. So let's just reduce this back way back down now, because 320 is where I normally find myself soldering. All of the components in the corner actually gave me the fear. Which components in the corner? Just let that cool down a little bit. In the corner of the board, do you mean? Yeah, I was getting quite worried that I was getting very close to one of them, but it's actually alright. It's nowhere near. Very close, but nowhere near. I'm just going to plug some of these switches in for the time being. But we're going to solder a couple of the end switches. So we're at 320 degrees now. So let's just solder a couple of these in so we can push down. Nice. It's the first time I've ever had to go up to above 400 degrees centigrade for, on the soldering iron. Never had to do that before, so. Yeah, I desperately tried not to drop the soldering iron there. If I did, somebody in Australia was going to be getting hit in the face with the soldering iron as it came flying through the centre of the earth and hit him. Before it went off into the outer space. Obviously, as soon as it gets out of space, it's screwed at that point. There's nothing that's going to cool it at that point. It will eventually just turn into a star, and life as we know it will. Well, I guess life as we know it will begin in another universe. Obviously, including all of the atmospheric changes that need to happen to a planet and everything like that. But eventually, yeah. Okay, that's looking good. Is the webcam looking alright? The camera looking alright, or is it? No, it's not. It's not focused correctly. There we go. Let me know if it's not focused correctly, by the way, guys, because it does have focus tracking on this on my DSLR, so it will at times go a bit crazy and follow my hand about instead. What I may well do actually is I may well just put this back into the old case, seeing as I don't actually have Dan's retro fridge Norbauer here, and he's going to have to do all of that anyway. So I might put it back into the original case instead of taking my. I was going to take this Norbauer apart, and realistically, I'm feeling it's too much of a ball ache to do. So, alrighty. That's a few of the switches installed. So bottom row, 1, 2, 3, 4. Second row, 1, 3 on the third. I like to make sure that these are done. 1 on there, and then there's a bunch across here. 1, 2. Difficult to miss them, but at the same time. Shit, I know what I've just done. I've just soldered the spacebar in, and I shouldn't have done that, so let me just desolder that. Luckily, this Kester solder is got a really good flow rate, so I can just desolder this quickly, pop it out. Really great solder, by the way, Kester. Kester Loctite, even. I keep saying Kester. Loctite branded solder, and stocks can attest to that as well. Not expensive either, and solid solder. Solid solder. Smells great. I suppose somebody hasn't done a scented solder yet. Tea tree or something like that. Tea tree or cherry. Cherry cola flavoured. Obviously, as soon as you start going down the flavouring route, people are going to start drinking soda. And as we mentioned earlier, Alex, not a good idea, is it? Well, I make that sound like you've drunk soda there. You haven't drunk soda. we were just saying that it's not a great idea to drink solder. To be honest with you, I think if you manage to drink liquid solder, I think you deserve a prize anyway. These. Jesus. Sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Got the phone right next to me. Never is for me. Never is for me, though. Not important enough to get home phone calls. Plus the fact that I don't give my home phone number out. More than likely, the person that came over earlier was my mum, and she was asking if I would like a curry. So they bought curry tonight. And so it's probably the delivery driver. Yeah, I don't think he likes dogs very much, and so we got quite a large dog called Fudge, and sort of terrorizes the delivery guys. So for those already about to ask, I know that I don't have enough switches to be able to cover the board right now. I'm going to show you guys how I lube these switches, and just do a quick spring swap on them as well. So I've got some spare stock ones over to my right over there, and so we'll just do a quick swap. Albeit I may have just miscounted, and I may well have enough here, but I'm pretty sure I counted that I had something like 82. I also need like 88 or so. Why does that one not want to go in? That would be why. Still got one of the legs attached to it. I'll chop them all off, but I obviously miss this one. There. So obviously the switches come as PCB mount ones. You've got to chop the little legs off for them to be able to be put down on this board. It is plate mount only. So need to do 7 switches. No, 8 switches. Sorry, 8 switches. So let's grab 8 switches from here. So I got sent a bunch of clear top ones, so I just need to choose the ones that aren't clear tops. The clear top ones may have been a better choice for this anyway, because of the RGB, but it is what it is. 6, 7, 8. Cool. So Dan will get all of these ones back, or stock. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be getting them back at the moment. So let's just flick the soldering iron off for now. I'm just going to move this out of the way for a minute. And switches. Don't need the spring that's attached to it. Go back over here. So there's the 8 switches. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop them open. I've got the change of springs here. So I'm going to loop the bottom housing, top of the housing, new spring, stem goes back in. I don't do anything to the stem. I'm just going to pop these open quickly. So I've got a little tool here. I don't know if you guys can see. Just got a little tool here. You can see it's got little prongs, and it just pushes. You push it in, and it pushes the little legs aside, opening there. So the switch comes open nicely, and then we've got the bottom housing, top housing, stem, and spring remaining. I'm not going to be using these springs. I'm going to throw them in the bag so that Dan has them if he really wants to use them for anything. Use them as bin liner or something like that, I don't know. Bin filler. Okay. That's good. So I'm just going to lube the bottom housings. So let's get this. So we're using Krytox 205 grade 0. So this is 205. It's quite a thick consistency. It's quite good stuff. Just going to make sure that you use very little of it and spread it quite well. Otherwise it does make the switches pretty loopy. So I'm going to get a little bit on the end. Something like that is probably enough, if you guys can see that. That is probably enough for the bottom and maybe some of the top. I spread this very, very lightly, so I'll use, say, a third of it. I'll just put a third of it onto one of these rails, another third of it onto the other, and that's probably enough there. And then the rest of this is probably enough to do the top housing. So all I'm doing is I'm just spreading it on there for now, and so I can probably just rub this in quite nicely. I might put a little bit more on for the top housing. It didn't go quite as far as I was expecting it to go, so we'll just put a little bit more on there, there, and the one bit that I'm going to do. So the bits that I lube, if I bring this close, so you can see the lube is on there. I lube this section here, and this back wall here, yeah? So I just put a little bit of lube on there and just rub it in slowly. So I'm just trying to show you, just rub it in nice and slowly. Do the other side. And the bottom. And then this section here. See if I can get it to focus a bit better. And then this section here. And so this section is nice and easy. Just leave it in nicely. And so this you just put a bit double of it on there. I don't know if you can see it very well. Put a double of it on there and on there, and then just rub it in slowly. Don't need loads. With 205, less is definitely more. 205 is 205 has a real tendency to make switches feel mushy very quickly, so you just got to be very careful on how much you load onto the brush. However, I'd probably say it's one of my favourite lubes for linears and lightly doing on tactiles. So I'm just going to get through these quickly now. Completely out of focus, as per usual. Don't feel very confident with lubing your switches with 205 grade 0 because it can be a little bit tricky. Your next best option is Tribosis, 3204 probably, 3204, 3203, and both of those they've got a little bit more give in them, and by that I mean it doesn't matter if you load the brush up a little bit too much, the lube itself will. Unless you super add way too much lube, it's got a little bit of leeway. Either way, doesn't matter too much if you put a little bit too much in. The switcher won't feel great to begin with, and then it'll even itself out. Whereas 205 grade 0 has a real tendency to feel like crap for a long time. Sorry, the camera is just frozen. I think it's the actual piece of software itself, so I'm just getting it started up again for you guys. It lasted 2.5 hours, which is quite impressive. Oh, you guys can see the focusing system. There we go. Only a couple more bottom housings to do. And obviously what I'll do is, obviously the springs have been sat for a little while, so I'll give them a quick whirl around, because I do bag lube all my springs. I generally find that you get a far better consistency from bag lubing springs. Top housings to go now. I found that lubing top housings really does help the feel of the switch overall. I'm doing it with all of the switches now that I lube. All client switches get lubed top bottom housings. If it's linears, then I lube everything. Now I lube contact leaves. I lube the well, not the whole contact leaf. I lube the section where it makes contact with the stem. I lube that. I lube the housing itself, every section of the housing. Mostly with 205. The stem obviously gets lubed. The top housing gets lubed. The spring gets lubed, and I usually do the well and the post on the stem. I'll do that with 103 or something like that. A slightly more viscous lube to give it a bit better glide. And the last one, and then we can get some springs. So what we're going to do with this, I do every time. This has got 62.5 gram springs inside of it. Just seal it off except for a tiny little section. There we go. So we've now got a little bag. You can see I've got a little bag. And so what we're just going to do is we're just going to give them a little whirl. There we go. That should be enough. They have been sitting in the lube, so they should have a decent quantity of lube on them already. So. So initially I did try and sticker these, I say sticker. Did try and use film on them, film on these, but film really does not work very well on these Outemu Sky switches. Stocks, he says, just hit 100 words per minute. Hey, congratulations. That's my goal for this year, is to hit 100 words per minute. I've taught myself to retype a bit, and I started off very slow. I was like 20 or 30 words per minute, but now I'm about 60 or 70. So on them gains, you know. Two switches left after this one. And then we can get going with soldering them back into place. once they're soldered back into place, then we'll put them back into the case that they came from. I'll probably give it a quick clean so that Dan doesn't have to feel how disgusting it is. Screw it all back together and then we'll give it a little test. Got a couple of keycap sets up there that I can probably throw onto it. I think I've got GMK Pristine available. So the one thing that I need to do, so that's all of the switches that we need doing. So let me just put this to the side. Just need to chop the little the extra posts off. Just going to drop these into this stuff. So I'll pick it up a little later. I'm going to give the stabs a good clean quickly as well. Just take them apart and give them a little clean with some isopropyl. And then good thick amount of lube. A rube. Hold on there for a second. That was off. Looking good. So just put those over there. Put those back over here for now. Okay, let's just take these apart quickly. To be honest with you, they're not in a bad condition. They're not as dirty as I thought they were. The wires are horrible. I'll give the wires a good clean. Nearly as dirty as I thought it was going to be. So we'll just try and keep these together just in case they I'm just going to add a little bit of lube to them. Okay, they're not nearly as dirty as I thought they were. So. The actual wires themselves look really pretty grim. Let's give the wires a quick clean, because they have got some junk on the wires. So. Clean. Nice and shiny and new. It definitely does feel like somebody spilt a drink on it or something like that, which was why it was a little bit gross. So Alex, now is the time that you are going to wish to look away. You're not going to want to see this. Lube to it all over. Got some escaping. Definitely not going to want to watch this, Alex. Not with the amount of lube that I'm putting on nowadays. One set of stabs done. Second stab's done. Getting there now. There we go. Alright, one more set of stabs to do, and then we will be on the final few switches, and then soldering the board back together. And the soldering of the board should only take a couple of minutes. One more to go, one more side to do, and then we're done. Oh, way too much, way too much, even by my new standards. Okay, over there. Okay, back on this for now. Get the PCB back over here. Okay, that's that in. Let's just pop these switches back in.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Okay, so once the soldering iron is back up to temperature, we're going to get soldering the final section of soldering, and we'll just go around the board quickly, solder it all up, and we will be done with the rebuild process, at the very least. Putting it into the cases, not difficult. It works 100% of the time.
That doesn't make sense.
did you get that trident? No, it's not Brick. Where did you get that trident? Brick, where did you get that grenade? Oh, sorry guys, you can't see very well there, can you?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up to my most hated switch. Hopefully Dan's gonna like this board when he gets it. I think he's gonna really like it. The switches feel great in my opinion. They feel great and they sound much better than they originally did. Originally they sounded like ass. Sorry guys. That'll be the Indian arriving, so I should have food in a minute, so I'll get this finished. they won't eat all of the food without me. At least I hope they won't. This spool holder that Stocks made me is really helpful. So thank you very much, Stocks, if you're still watching. I've had a few boards to build recently, and the spool holder has actually been incredibly useful. You wouldn't think it would be, but just allows you to keep your attention on what you're doing, rather than having to keep going backwards and forwards to the spool if it's lying on your desk. I know it sounds really silly, but when you're soldering as many boards as I am at the moment, it does help. It does allow you to keep the flow of things a bit better. So at the meetup, if you are coming along to the meetup, you can have a beer on me. One second. Need to get a little fan and blow it out in my face all the time. just the F-rev switch is left to go and one pin on the delete key. Seems I hate that one. People keep coming over here. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Oh, and one pin. So there we go. Let's just do a quick scan to the top row, the bottom row. Good. That looks great. So that is all soldered together. So what we're going to do is we'll flip it back over so you guys can have a look. So this is the completed PCB and switch and plate combo. Looks good, doesn't it? It's a nice looking board. So what we're just going to do is I'm going to give the bottom housing a quick clean out because I've got it's got some junk in it. So I'll go over to the sink and just give that a quick clean out, and then I'll give the top a wipe down, and then we'll put it back together. So give me 1 minute, guys. Okay. That's not cleaning it. There's no junk inside of it anymore. So the first thing that we've got to do with this is put the pass-through cable for the micro USB that it uses back into place. So back in. Place that back. Down. And so let's screw this back together. And so I'm just going to give the top housing a little clean off as well, because it needs it. So it hasn't got any junk on it. I'm just going to give this a quick clean over. Go around all of the edges. The main thing is to get all of the internal edges. They're going to be the grossest of them all. Yeah, so whoever had this, it does look definitely like it. I think it's put a drink on it or something. But at least it hadn't killed the board. That's the best thing. They'd managed to clean it and fix it back up again. But treat your board better guys. Leave the little sticker on there for him. He can remove that if he really wants to. I'm not going to deny him the removal of that sticker. So, that's the completed board. Let's just find a nice keycap set to go on it. So I've got a mash of a couple of keycap sets in here at the moment. So let's just, I think JMK Pristine will go quite nicely on here. It goes upside down, doesn't it? Oh, Jesus, that's that tough. I might do black mods. No, white mods. QWERTY. QWERTY. Yep. Oh. That's how it's fucked, boy. 2, 3, 4. So they're only going to be the only pain in the ass thing of this is that I've got too many keycaps. So that's 5th one across. 5. There are lots of keycaps in here at the moment because I've been kind of lazy and just throwing JMK Pristine back in here with the rest. So there's going to be a certain amount of sifting through here to find keycaps, unless I'm lucky. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. gonna happen. Those are the wrong ones. So I've got 3 keycap sets in here at the moment. GMK Pristine, GMK White on Black, and DSA Raw Navy, all in the same box. So should have saved being lazy and put them back in their proper places, but meh. I will go through the process of putting them back in the trays where they came from. Albeit DSA the DSA set didn't come in AM in one of them. This music is upbeat. I think some of the keys might be in the trays, because I do think I put some of them back properly. I think all of the modifiers might be in there, because I used black modifiers on last week's build. I think all of the alphas should be in here, so let's hunt the alphas out and then we'll get the modifiers on in a minute. Too many keycaps. Separate them out properly. None of them are the right ones. Where are all of these missing keys? Oh, there's H. They're in here still. straight here, so this is going to do my nothing otherwise. Interesting. Got a bunch of light cycle caps in here as well, which is kind of annoying. If I'm missing caps in by 15, I will be annoyed. I think I've said this once before. Last week, seeing as I couldn't find some caps then either. But they're more than likely in this box. Unless I put them in the separate one. DSO to DSA, GMK to GMK. I think it's in the box. Aha. Wait, I'm being completely thick here. I've got the caps. They're just not the ones here. Being stupid. Being stupid. Okay, let me just get... Of course they're not going to be there because I've got all of these in the bag. The box here are. So they're all in the box here, the Red Frontier box. Hunting high and low for caps that I'm never going to find. Because I've got all of the ones that I need. Actually, I have to have a play with that. go there. I think that one's still wrong. Yeah, definitely is. I have to play about with that off stream, I think. Okay, guys. So there we go. I'm going to have to do some bit of tweaking after this, because it does look like the enter key is making a bit of a funny noise. You'll hear what it sounds like when I type on it here. So let me just turn the music off for you guys, so you guys can have a listen properly, and I'll turn the music off for me as well. So this is the little typing demonstration. Let me just move these keycaps out of the way a little. So this is a little typing demonstration. So see what I mean? It's rattly on the top side, so I might just try and pull this up and place it back down, see if that helps at all. Sometimes it might just not be sitting on there very well. Yeah, the top side of it seems to be very rattly for some reason, so I might have to have a bit more of a play with this, but like this isn't too bad. It's a little rattly, but it's not too bad. So yeah, there we go. So I'm going to go get some food, guys, and I will work on this outside of the stream. I hope that you've enjoyed the stream tonight. This board is really nice. I'm really impressed by these Silent Sky switches. They are very tactile, much more tactile than I was expecting. Bumper right at the very top, like Zelio's. Really nice, and the silent aspect is really nice of them too. It almost sounds and feels like Topra. Almost sounds and feels like almost it. If you add a little bit of lube to the sliders, I think you'd probably be getting somewhere closer to Topra. But either way, I hope you've all enjoyed the stream. If you are still watching and you want to watch another stream another time, I do go live on a Saturday at 6 PM most Saturdays. And if you want to see another stream, please do hit the follow button, and you'll be notified when I go live next. I sometimes do stream other days, depends on how many builds I've got going and stuff like that. So do feel free to hit the like button. And this is Dan's Masterkeys Pro S with Outemu Ice. I said ice again. Outemu Sky Silent Switches. Outemu Silent Skies with 62.5 gram springs. Really nice. Really nice. And I think he's going to really like it. Much quieter than they originally were. So, but I'm going to go get some dinner, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next stream. See you later, guys.